Happy Market Monday, Chris from Fluent Mortgage, market fluently. So we're gonna look at point of view, CPI versus PPI, okay? So just like we're looking at this image, right? It's the same number, but depending on your point of view, they're looking at completely different results. One person's playing 6, one person's saying 9. Who's right? So in this case, it isn't really about truth. We'll talk about truth and how much that matters next week, but really point of view, okay? And the reason why is literally this week is a huge week regarding inflation. So Wednesday, we're gonna talk about CPI, and Thursday, we're gonna get the results for PPI. Well, what do both those mean? I've said them so many times now for years, right? CPI, PPI, what's the difference? We know it's inflation. Definitionally, here's where they are. So let's look here, right? PPI, there's a big hint. P, producer, the elites, the owners from the top down perspective, right? It doesn't include imports though. And it doesn't include taxes. Even, Oregon's tax is an example we have on goods sold above 750. Ultimately, that always gets passed to the consumer, to us. So they don't include that from their perspective. But then there's CPI, right? The Consumer Price Index. That's our perspective. That's the buyers. That's the consumer's perspective. So how much do goods cost? Is it getting more expensive or less? It includes imports. And any tax there is, ultimately, we're going to pay for that, right? That's just the reality of things, okay? Sales tax, reverse sales tax, if you tax the business, no matter what, we pay for it ultimately. So the CPI truly is the one that you and I care about most as consumers. All right, guys. We know, like gasoline, we're in a period of hyperinflation. We know for the most part, I'm going to be saying rates are going up, and we already know how to react on that. So instead of giving you doom and gloom each week, I'm going to keep you informed, but I'm going to try and roll out fundamental understandings on economics and finance. So as we hear these things, we really know what to look to and inform ourselves. So next week, we're going to look more about inflation definitionally. So even though we kind of went deep dive into it because of the market this week, truth matters. So we'll look at that next week. All right. On our website, whether you're going from the phone, whether you're going from a desktop, we added a third metric in there. And so just so you understand why. So really, there's kind of 3 bars we typically set when we're doing loans, okay, on your purchase. If somebody has money to put down, if they want the lowest possible rate, if this is a long-term hold, then you've heard of buying down your rate, right? With some money from the seller, from themselves, however, you can get a lower rate than is currently market at par. So if it was VA today with us, you're going to hear 4.5%, okay? Par, meaning no cost for the money, but there's also no credit. I'm not giving them money. Par today, VA is 5%. This isn't the national average, right? The national average is much higher. I'm just saying what we can find today. And then lastly, we know it's a seller's market, right? We know we're probably not going to be asking the seller for concessions, for closing costs. Sometimes we can, but usually not. So in this market, hey, let's just bump the rate up a tick, maybe 0.75%, maybe raise the payment $100 or so, and then let me pay for all the closing costs. So again, at 4.5 buy down, at 5 is there's no cost or credit, and at 5.75, that third line, I'm paying for everything. So just understand how you can leverage that on every single day. All right, guys, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, but most of all, help your clients understand this market. Maybe we'll educate and teach on inflation, CPI and PPI, right? Most of all, have a blessed day and help someone else. Chris from Fluent Mortgage, we'll see you next week.